Hola, hola. Avui comencem un nou format d'NFL en català, així que ja ho sabeu, seguiu-nos a totes les xarxes per estar al dia i no perdre-us ni un moment del que fem a les xarxes. Som-hi! Doncs com us deia, benvinguts a un nou format d'NFL en català. Avui comencem aquest invent raro, que ja veurem on ens porta. Anem obrint noves vies, ara que estem a fora de la temporada de la NFL, doncs per què no també parlar una mica de la ELF? Com veieu, això no és tots el Blitz, sinó que és una altra cosa. Què és exactament? No ho sabem, ja ho anirem veient. De moment, mentre no renovem contracte amb la nostra, hem decidit anar fent coses aquí al nostre canal de YouTube, també reprendrem el nostre canal de Twitch, així que ja ho sabeu, seguiu-nos a les xarxes, @NFL en català, ens trobareu doncs, a Twitter, a Instagram i bàsicament allà on Google us vulgui portar. I ho farem, com sempre, amb el Ferran Àngel. Hola, Ferran, què tal? Com estàs?
Hola, què tal, Enric? Què tal?
Borrós, oi? Has vist que estic borrós, oi?
Estàs una mica borrós, però no passa res, perquè estàs nerviós. Llavors ja...
Estic... Ara. Veus?
Ara sí.
No falla. Què tal, Ferran? Com estàs? Tot bé?
Molt bé, fantàstic.
Avui no tenim
tinc moltes
el
ganes
Raül?
de començar a veure... Sí, exacte, no tenim en Raül, que probablement avui ens hagués anat bastant bé, s'ha de dir.
Sí, per un tema de llenguatge. Sobretot per un tema de llenguatge, la resta...
Exacte.
Bueno, i per fer aquestes coses que fa ell d'explicar anècdotes dels dragons, perquè avui parlarem molt dels dragons, no dels Barcelona Dragons d'antes, sinó dels actuals, i en parlarem molt perquè avui tenim amb nosaltres, parlarem una mica de NFL, però sobretot parlarem dels dragons perquè el nostre convidat d'avui va treballar a l'NFL durant 10 anys, però sobretot el que ens interessa i el que ens importa és que ara mateix treballa als Barcelona Dragons. Encara no té 40 anys i ja ha passejat per mig món fent d'entrenador d'aquest esport que tant ens agrada. Avui rebem a l'Andrew Weidinger, que és el head coach dels Dragons. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you for having me. I'm fired up to be here. Shoot, those highlights got me fired up. I'm ready to go. Let's play this next one.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
To have you very fired up, so next week we are going to win again. So
let's go, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, the first question, I think it's now we talk about the highlights. The first game, first victory. Congratulations. It's the beginning of the season if you won, I think.
Yeah, it's like
say it again.
Yeah, no, I was telling you that it was the dream start of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that was...
sorry, my English is very bad.
No, you were fine. I'm like I said, I got hit with that football today, and so who knows where my head's at. It was a great way to start the season. That's a good opponent. They didn't play their best football that day, and I know on the rematch it's going to be a real good football game going against those guys. But it was very good to come out, to execute, finally go against somebody else. I can't tell you how many things we did wrong in that game, and it's always good to make mistakes in games that you win, because then you don't walk away feeling bad about the situation. You don't burn an opportunity because you only get so many to go out and play and win. But you got a lot of things that you can learn from. And so we've got a million things that we can learn from. We got a million things that we're trying to fix, but it was good to come out and get that victory in week one, no question.
So entering this season, a difference like NFL, there's no usual preseason against other teams of the league. So how the team prepares for the season without this opportunity to play another equal teams?
Yeah, so the reality is, like American college football, they don't go and they don't play against anybody else. before the season starts. Now, a lot of the good schools, they'll make sure that they're playing somebody they know they're going to beat in the first week or two. I'm a big fan when I was in the NFL that we would practice against other teams in the preseason, either once or twice. I'm a big fan of that. But the geography of the ELF right now, the finances, it's just not something that's possible for us to do because it is a major undertaking for the team that's doing the traveling. And I don't know why nobody wants to come out here. Like, we're on the beach, guys. There's over there freezing in Germany. Like, shoot, I was just there. I promise you, it's better in Salute. Come on out.
Summer.
Yeah, come on out. Check it out. But maybe next year we've got some teams that are a little bit closer, and maybe we'll be able to put together a preseason practice with one of them.
Okay, so you're always have been a coach, for an offensive coach, we are going to say. So now, at your first experience as a head coach, it's inevitable to try to stay more focused on the offense than in the defense, or you can really go and control everything, because the head coach in NFL, people who follows American football knows, it's like the CEO of the sporting decisions and these kind of things.
Yeah. So any head coach, I'm guessing throughout the history of football, that's tried to exert total control over both the offense and defense, I would imagine has failed. It's not something that you could possibly do. And so like you say, the CEO, the head coach, has to function as a guy who manages and believes in the people that are working for him or for the organization, right? So Coach Black on defense, he's the head coach of the defense. He manages the defense. I don't need to say anything. They'll run things by me here and there, but shoot, they've got it totally under control, and they've done an awesome job with those guys. The overreach, it's a myth. If anybody tells you the head coach is managing all phases of things, they're a liar. And shoot, as a head coach, I got things I got to do better. Like in that first game, I'm so worried about the offense. They're telling me that the Surge got 5 downs in a series, and I didn't even know about it. So I got to get my head more in the game and more focused on what's happening on the field during when we're out there on defense. Because I'm getting attacked by a fly. I'm spending all my time worrying about the offense.
We see that the last year, maybe the weakest point on the offensive is the offensive line. What do you think about that? And do you think this is the first thing to fix in the offensive of the Dragons?
Yeah, they did a good job of upgrading that position in the offseason here, which I wasn't even a part. I wasn't even involved at that point in time. And it's funny. A couple of those guys had come out that were on the team last year. They came out and they played. We had a little scrimmage game against a D3 college from America, and they played in that game. And it was good to meet those guys. Like they're good players. They're good football players. They're just a little bit undersized for a league like this one. And they did a good job. For who they are, my hat's off to them. Like, they battled. Those guys are battlers. But they did a good job of improving the size at that position across the board. And so hopefully we've been able to take something that was viewed as a weakness and turn it into something that hopefully will end up being viewed as a strength.
This is the second part of the question I want to do is the size. We say the last season, maybe the size of the players from the Barcelona from Spain is a little less than the Germany or Poland. Do you think this is an issue?
You can be big, you can be small. The beauty of football is there's a lot of ways to be successful. Now, if you're up front, if you're big and you're talented, then it's a good combination, right? You want to be able to just lean on people and just push the football forward. So we've got a plan to manage the teams that are going to come out and be bigger than us. It would be nice if they put up the bakeries all over town here so that we could go out and we could get that broaching like the German guys have been doing their whole lives. I think I'm 99% sure that those little mini breads, the tiny broachins, that's why they're all so tall and so big. I'm not a scientist, though, or a doctor, so I could be wrong. But I've been trying to convince somebody to bring one here to Salute so we can, in the morning, walk on over there and we can beef up too. We'll see. We'll see if it works. But you're absolutely right. Like, we are giving up size. When the Surge walked out, and now on the flip side, every game I've ever been a part of, when the other team comes out, I always say to myself, like, oh, damn, look at how big those guys are. I'm thinking the same thing when the surge came out too. But you can beat size with quickness. There's a lot of ways to do it. A lot of ways to win a football game. So hopefully that's it's an issue. Hopefully it's something that we really don't have a problem mitigating that issue.
So I don't know if you can watch the rest of the games of the week 1 of the league. So do you consider like for I don't know reports of the preseason that there's some kind of surprise in this week 1, or maybe teams that do you think that could be not so danger really proves that wrong, that they really are a danger team for the Dragons?
Yeah. So the reality is I know nothing about any team that we haven't faced yet, which is just there's 2 that we've looked at, or the teams that they've gone against. I really don't know much about them. I didn't watch much from last year other than games against our first 2 opponents because I wasn't particularly concerned with that. I was more concerned with getting our system together and making sure that we were all on the same page. So everybody's the Rhein Fire beat Frankfurt. I saw the Rhein Fire scrimmage against Stuttgart. They're not pushovers by any stretch of the imagination. That they've got an offensive line that can absolutely lean on you. So I understand that people are maybe shocked. I was not shocked because they all look like pretty good football teams to me. They're all going to be battles, and just like in the NFL, you want it to be that way. You want it to be any given Sunday that anybody can win, because that's what really generates excitement and keeps fans engaged with the game. You don't want any team falling off a cliff, because then the excitement is gone and attendance can droop. So it's cool to see everybody out there and everybody being in these games and having a chance to win.
Is for you a big difference about you are 10 years in the NFL, I think, maybe into big franchises like Tampa and sorry,
Falcons.
Falcons and Bucks. I know it's a very, very big difference in the 2 leagues, but how you prepared your book, your playbook for a change like that?
Yeah, so I've done it twice now, where I've come in with a vision of how I'd like to do things. And last year when I was coaching the GFL, we had to adjust on the fly and change things a little bit to suit our personnel. And then here we had to do the same and change things to suit our personnel a little bit. And so the playbook is this big, and both seasons we've gone down to this, focusing on what it is we know we can execute and be successful at, and how can we get the ball into our best players' hands. So it's not exactly in the NFL. You have guys at every position that that are more capable of maybe specific skills, versus in Europe it's not as developed because kids haven't been playing the sport their entire lives. It's not a US Europe thing. It's simply a repetition thing. There's just not as many reps that have happened here. And so you've got to figure out who has those specialized skills and adjust your plan accordingly. Because a lot of people will just come out, and I don't believe in it, just come out and run, your plays. I'm more of I'd like to run the plays that are best against this team, and how do we put our best players in the position to execute those plays.
Okay, so what is your expectation for the Dragons this season? I know it's very early in the season, but, well, if I say you it's championship, what do you say?
I don't care about winning the championship. I care about us coming out and getting better each and every week. If we can do that, we'll end up in the championship game. We got to go out and like I said, against the Surge, we made a million mistakes. Every week we're going to make mistakes. If we learn from those mistakes, get rid of them, and keep moving in the right direction, the other things will happen. People talk about the process. It's a process. Winning is the function of many other things that you've done. It's not, everybody's going to come out and say they want to win the championship. Like, yeah, no kidding, it'd be great. But the reality is you don't just show up and win championships. You work to win championships, and that's the goal: is to put in the work on a day-to-day basis. We're not focused on winning games. We're focused on putting in the work.
Okay, so what do you think that are the keys for the ELF to continue growing? Because last season there's only 8 teams in the league. So now this season we have 12, and 2 of them are typical European American football teams like the Vienna Vikings and the
the Raiders.
The other one.
The Raiders over
the Swarco Raiders. Well, Raiders, title Raiders. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think that the league has to do to continue growing and maybe changing the thing that you explained before, that kids here don't play as much as in American, so it's impossible to expect to have the same technical development of the football.
Right. No, shoot, I don't have an opinion on what the league needs to be doing for expansion. I do know that what they are doing is going to be good for the sport ultimately here. The more popular they can make it, I think that the idea to make a truly international league here was a great idea. I'm late to the party on European football. I didn't even know football existed in Europe until 2-3 years ago. I had no idea, and a lot of people in America don't. But and I could be dead wrong with this comparison, okay? But so don't hold any to it. But when the U.S. put together the dream team in basketball, was that 92, I think? And all of a sudden, now you have this influx, like every NBA team has a ton of foreign players on it, right? It's a process. They made it more popular. Everybody in the world got to see Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. It became a very, very popular deal. And it, took on a life of its own, but it took time to grow. And that's the same thing that's happening here, I think, with the NFL expanding its slate of international games, with the ELF expanding and playing in more cities, more countries. It's a matter of time, and it's going to take a significant amount of time, but it will continue to grow. And I think that you'll continue to see Europeans rise through the ranks, and even more of them go and play in the NFL and major college football.
So in this matter, do you know that Barcelona has the team, the Barcelona Dragons, in the 90s? The first that it came with the NFL Europe. Now we can be like the I don't know the word.
The reboot?
Yeah, the I don't know now. Like
you could say it in Spanish. I know a little bit of Spanish. I can see if I can pick it up.
Los herederos.
I'm lying though. I won't know it. I'm gonna run with it though. So, anyways, I'm very aware of NFL Europe. When I was a kid, I was watching NFL Europe. I worked with a coach who was with the London Monarchs. I worked with another coach in Tampa Bay who had played in NFL Europe, and they would tell me stories about NFL, like just being over here. And all I could ever think is, man, I wish that I would have been the right age at the right time to be able to go do that in my coaching career, because that sounds awesome. And then bam, I get contacted by the Barcelona Dragons, and I'm like, man, I know who the Barcelona Dragons are. I've seen them on TV. When I was a little kid, I saw them on TV. Like, that's pretty cool. You're not gonna top that. Something that I had thought about and had wished for in the past. That getting that opportunity. This has been a great experience.
A little bit of partying, I think, in these stories about the Barcelona Dragons. Not all is playing football in Barcelona.
Say that last part one more time.
No, I think that the classical Barcelona Dragons, there is a lot of party and a lot of things. Is not only playing football.
I think
Barcelona,
that might be all football. I don't know if that's exclusive to Barcelona. That might be all football. I think everywhere I've been, there might be a little bit too much partying and maybe not quite enough football.
The summer in Spain is danger.
It's wild. This is a great place. Great place. If you're a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old kid in Europe playing football and you don't want to come to Barcelona, like something's wrong with you. Like, give me a call. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like. We'll get you out here in a week. This place is way better than anywhere else.
Okay, so we are going back to your backgrounds. You started as a graduate assistant at Arizona Wildcats, the university, the college. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, like non-football assistant, it's okay. I mean, or something.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So I was a grad assistant on the defensive side.
Okay.
And so there's a guy named Mark Stoops who's currently the head coach at the University of Kentucky. And so I was a grad assistant for him for 3 years, I believe, there, and learned a lot from him. I was also, at the end of my tenure there, I was the recruiting coordinator, like assistant director of operations and recruiting coordinator, which was short-lived because I went to the Falcons not more than a month, I don't know, maybe 2 months after I got that job. So I was a very, very low-level assistant on the defensive side when I was at the University of Arizona.
So how do you do the jump to the NFL and to the Falcons? Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of football coaches they play at university and being a player, and if I don't think that that is your case.
It's very true. Like you look at those coaching staffs in the NFL and shoot like 2 guys, their dads are also coaching on that staff, or you know exactly who their dads are, and then 6 or 7 guys were big time NFL players, and then there's a handful of other guys who have been coaching forever, and longer than I've been alive, and I don't really know where they came from. But it's a crazy story. So I was trying to get into the NFL and scouting for the longest time. And I wasn't having any luck. And our defensive ends coach at the University of Arizona, a guy named Joe Robinson, I was walking past him in the hallway one day, and he said, you have any luck this year? I told him no. And he said, well, I know a guy with the Falcons. Let me give him a call. And I don't know, 3-4 weeks later, I was driving out to Atlanta as an intern there. And then I was very fortunate to work my way up from that spot and turn it into a good little 10-year run in the NFL.
And then after your stint with the Falcons, you went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. And let me ask a question. So, if I'm not mistaken, you were assistant wide receiver coach and game management.
Yes. So,
what exactly do a game management assistant?
That was a great question. When I got that title, I asked the exact same thing. And I told the guy who gave me that job that I don't want that job. I'll do that job, but I don't want that title. And but the wheels were already put in motion, and it was too late. And so what was really good about it is it forced, you watch this thing on TV and it all makes sense. Like, oh yeah, take a timeout. Like, well, there's actually, when you really drill down, there's a lot of right times and wrong times to take timeouts. And so in terms of strategy and end of half and end of game strategy, it forced me to become an expert on that. And I'm not the first guy to do the game management deal, but I think I'm the first guy in the history of the NFL to have the title. So anyways, it really forced me to become an expert in strategy. And that's not to say that I know exactly what I'm doing in all times. And I'm certainly rusty, because the moment I left the NFL, I stopped caring about it until a couple of weeks ago. And to stay sharp on that stuff is difficult, at least for me. So it was good to have that title. It was good to learn those things, and it's hopefully I can use it to help benefit this team.
So what was the main difference? Not like in the game, but in the older roster that you are now the head coach of a place like there are professional players, but there's no players like earn $10 million, $20 million. They are very rich people, very young rich people, if I could say.
Real question.
That. How do you feel and how do you manage this these rosters, these people?
Yeah, so as this progresses, I think a lot of the coaches in Europe are going to find out that the notion that the head coach is in charge of the team is kind of, there's a lot of gray involved in that, because the head coach is involved, but when you got players who make 4 or 5 times what that guy makes, there's certain concessions that have to be made, and there's no such thing as everybody gets treated fairly and equally. Those things don't actually exist in professional football, especially professional football for significant sums of money. Now here, there is no, Aaron Rodgers isn't running around. If we had Aaron Rodgers, he could tell me whatever, we'll do whatever Aaron Rodgers tells me to do. He can wear my hat out to the game if he wants. But we don't have that yet. We're not there yet in Europe. And so it's a little different, but ultimately it's the same. You've got guys, you've got a team of guys. You want them moving in the right direction. You got to do whatever it takes to make sure you're on the same page. And ultimately that's been easy. We've got a great group of guys who are easy. You don't have to do anything to motivate them. They're ready to go. And so the transition, it's been a simple transition, and it's been good to see these guys treat it as a professional league and perform as professionals.
So do you think that some kind of these methods to train with NFL players are really, you could do it here at ELF because players, I don't know, it's the thing that we told before, that there are not so many reps, so they are not in that technical level for.
Right, I know what you're saying, and so we've had the way we run some plays, like there's an infinite number of variations in that play based on how the defense approaches you, and you have to adjust based on that. And one route can turn into 5 or 6 different routes based on that. And those things exist so that you can out execute your opponent, so that you can call a play, and no matter what they do, you can make that play work, because ultimately the game is it's either about talent or it's about execution. And you want to have both, right? Those the best teams have the most talent and can execute. But the execution is the only part that I can control, because I got no talent, and if I did, it wouldn't matter, because I'm not going to complete any passes or catch any balls. So when you start applying those sorts of principles, those NFL sorts of principles in we will adjust this if they do that, to guys who have very few reps, you run into some snags. And so it's been a battle on my part to try to limit the number of things that adjust and to get us the number of reps to get us up to speed. And I'm very impressed with the group that we have here. I haven't had to dial a whole lot back. They've been able to pick things up, and they've been able to roll with it, and they've been able to adjust on the fly. It's been impressive. It's been very impressive.
How do you see the you have some connection or with the QB with Zach Edwards in that way? You say that the execution of the play.
Yeah, so we had, unfortunately, Zach and I both got to training camp late. By a couple of weeks. We lost a significant amount of time on the front end, and so we've been battling to get back up to speed. And so there are, I said I didn't have to get rid of too much, but we abandoned a large chunk of this offense to make sure that we were ready to go week 1, and not to put too much on his plate or anybody else's plate, to be ready to play that first game. And so hopefully those are things that we can build back in as we progress throughout the season. But Zach has done an outstanding job of coming in, picking things up, taking the ownership, he's a knowledgeable guy, obviously out of the chute. They call him Magic Zach. I'm more of a Zach Attack guy. But whatever nickname he wants to go with, if he keeps playing like he did week 1, I'll let him choose. He's an outstanding job, and he's on top of his game. It's impressive to see, given the amount of time that he missed, to step in and be able to lead this team and perform at the level that he has.
We say then for us the nickname is Zach Rumbeta Edwards. I don't know if you know what is Rumbeta. Is
local music from here.
It's a local music. The rumba,
with guitar, but so many, and well, Not like flamenco, eh?
You got the,
It's a
Yeah,
class,
but-
yeah, it's
Let's
like
do it.
But not flamenco.
it's not flamenco. It's like music very typical from Barcelona, from the young
Gypsy
boys
people in
from
Barcelona.
Yeah, and we say we say
you gotta send me exactly
Okay.
how it's spelled, and
Yeah.
I'm on it. I'll adopt
yeah,
it.
you
Perfect.
Can, you
Use
can,
it.
you
I'll
can
use
tell
it.
to Zach
I'm big on nicknames. Let's
from
go.
us. We and yeah, for we go to end the interview. Thank you, Andrew. But we want to talk with you a little bit about the NFL too. The actual NFL you left a few years ago, but how do you see the next season? What do you see? What is your
And what do
I
you
don't know.
expect?
what do you
Yeah.
expect? Thank you.
Okay. So, and that's a tough call because there's, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it since I left. I got little kids. I like to play with them instead of watching those games. My son actually does love football, and he's always trying to turn it on. So it's not to say I haven't seen a lot, but there's a lot of guys when they're playing, and I'm like, boy, I don't know who any of these guys are anymore because rosters churn pretty quick, and I haven't paid a whole lot of attention. But I'm pulling for the Broncos this year. We've got 3 of my good friends who I worked with in Tampa. They're all coaching for the Broncos now. My son and I, we choose a team each year. We were Packers 2 years ago. We were the Colts last year, and this year we're going Broncos. So hopefully the Broncos can get it done. That's who we're pulling for. As soon as we found out that all 3 of our buddies were over there, we jumped on eBay and got some Broncos shirts. So we're geared up. We're ready for the season.
Russell Wilson jerseys?
Yeah, no. We just got regular shirts. I can't get a
Okay.
Russell Wilson jersey. He's I've been on the other end of a Russell Wilson beatdown, so I can't. He just happens to be the quarterback. I can't actually root directly for him. Speaking of which, you got that Victor Cruz jersey up there. We played them in the playoffs. I don't know, maybe 2010, 2011 in New York, and we got a safety. Maybe on the first possession of the game, we went up 2-0, and I'm like, yes. This game's over. When you get safeties, like you usually win. And the Eli and the Giants came roaring back and beat us 24-2. It got pretty ugly after that first safety. So that was a disappointing day in my life. You could have taken that down. You didn't have to rub it in, but that's fine. I've moved past it.
It was the good old days for the Giants that
Yes.
expect to go there somewhere time.
Shoot, Victor Cruz, he was doing your dance. He was fully
salsa.
embracing the Spanish culture. Yes.
So one last question.
Yes.
You talk about your sons. It's difficult to live here and have the family there.
My family's here. They're here.
Oh,
with
now
me.
it's here.
Yes, they're here. We are all in the same spot. We're living in an apartment in Salou, and it's been great. It's been absolutely great. We've got them in a little daycare. We were a little worried about the language barrier, but they've powered right through it. It doesn't faze them at all. You know, little kids like to run around and play with each other. So they've been having a good time, and then I'm really glad that I get to see them. This is something, we had done it last year in Germany, and it was hard on my wife going back, and I was still here for a significant amount of time, or I was still in Germany for a significant amount of time, and so that was stressful. Her managing them going back to school and all those things, but having them out here is awesome. If we weren't able to do that, it's not something that I'd be able to do because I left the NFL for a number of reasons, and a big one was that I had 2 young kids who I didn't get to see very much. And I know it's counterintuitive to then run off to Europe and coach some football, and I've taken some heat from that from some friends, but having them come out, shoot, my kids can speak a little bit of Spanish. They can speak a little bit of German. It's nothing overly impressive, but it's cool to see that the number of countries they've visited and places that they know by name is infinitely more than I knew at that age. And so exposing them to other cultures and other places has been a blessing and something that we're very glad that we're able to do. And I can't tell you how much I love being able to go home and see them. Okay,
I do a little quiz about the NFL for ending. The first question is what is your team?
So Broncos this year.
This year, you don't have
So
didn't
you
have
are
a team a long time.
I was when I was born. I was not when I was born, but I was raised a Bengals fan. All my
a
family,
Bengals.
yeah, they all live
Okay.
in Ohio. And so when Jeff Blake, Darnay Scott, Carl Pickens, they were throwing. Jeff Blake used to throw this moon ball down the field. It would get me fired up every time it went in the air, hoping for the big play. But as a Bengals fan, when I was a kid, that was a rough deal. They weren't particularly good. I lived through some dark days, but that was who I started rooting for. And then I think that, and probably most anybody who works in the business can tell you, you just hope that nobody gets fired. You hope everybody goes out, competes well, and nobody loses their job once you've been in the business for a long time. So it's hard to have a favorite, which is why we just root for our friends and against our enemies sometimes.
The next question is an NFL player.
Your NFL player.
Favorite
your
all
NFL
all
yeah.
time.
And every time I answer this, I always, after like 15 minutes later, I'm like, I should have said this guy too. But one of my all-time favorites is a guy named Jason Snelling. Jason Snelling was a backup running back for us in Atlanta. And Jason Snelling was the ultimate team player, the guy that could play multiple positions. And if somebody got hurt, he'd go and fill in. A guy who covered every kick on special teams, a guy who gave you everything he had every time he was on the field, had a varied skill set, didn't complain, went out, busted his butt, and did everything that he possibly could to help you win. I love role players. There's superstars everywhere. Everywhere we go, there's superstars, but role players who know that their role and go and fulfill that role. And then when they're asked to take on an expanded role, they go and they excel. That's my sort of guy. And Jason Snelling was that sort of guy.
Mm-hmm. I see you because my favorite player is John Kuhn.
Yeah, shoot. Somebody's got to go do the dirty work. Like those are my sorts of guys. The guys that are willing to go in and get dirty.
Okay. Yeah.
Give me more. I'm not ready to go. Give me some more questions. Let's go.
Okay,
yeah,
so
two more, and we end.
Okay.
Is your favorite coach or your coach if you see and you maybe
If I use one name, there's going to be a bunch of names who I leave out. I'm going to go with Butch Barry. Butch is the offensive line coach for the Denver Broncos, and Butch has helped me immensely in my preparation for coming over to Europe the last 2 seasons. Offensive line coaches in the NFL, they get paid like $1 million+, and there's a reason. It's because they make problems disappear for coordinators, play callers, guys who are worried about throwing the ball and how they generate explosive plays, pushing it down the field. And being forced to take on a bigger role meant that there's a lot of problems that in my experience just went away. Well, now I got to figure out how to make them go away. And so I leaned on Butch a lot to help me out with that.
yeah.
And the last one, sorry, my dog. Yeah. The last one is your Super Bowl.
Well, no, there's 2 of that. The first of all, your classical moment on the NFL.
I lost this one.
So
if you have to say, well, for example, my moment, it's not a win, but I was sleep. I was wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning because the time zones. Yeah. And it was in 2014. It's the catch, the Odell Beckham catch. It was in the room trying to be so quiet because my girlfriend was sleeping, but it was absolutely
yeah. For us, this is a problem.
I have to. So, what is your moment?
Yeah, so the problem is the first, as soon as you said that, it didn't have to be a win. I was like, oh boy, the first thing that pops in my head, we played in the last game at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And that year with the Falcons, we had sustained a significant number of injuries. We were a decimated team, and we were driving late in the game to put ourselves in position to win it. And we get inside the red zone and we call a draw. And if they give us a bad look, Matt Ryan can throw the ball out to a quick slant. And sure enough, they go and they blitz it, exactly what we didn't want. He throws the quick slant to Harry Douglas. It bounces off his right shoulder pad to a linebacker named Navarro Bowman, who played for the 49ers. And he takes that thing, I don't know, 85 yards or so, and the stadium was already packed, and they had all the legends in there who had ever played for the 49ers, and that place, like, it just got louder and louder and louder as he was going down that sideline heading towards the end zone all by himself. And it was like, if we got to lose, like, that's kind of a cool way to do it. Now, no, you don't want to go out and lose, but that was like a goosebumps type moment where you say, oh my goodness, like, the power of sport right there. The stadium was fully turned up against us. So it was a cool moment even in losing there.
I'm for this, we love this game,
Yeah.
I think. And now, Ferran, ara sí, va, fes-la tu, l'última.
And the last one, what are your two teams to be in Super Bowl, this next Super Bowl? I wouldn't to say the number, but I don't remember what is the number is the next Super Bowl in Arizona, in Phoenix, where you been born.
Yeah, shoot, right down the street. I'm going, let's go Broncos, and then I need the Bucs back in there. The Bucs still a couple of guys that I've kept in touch with a little bit since I left. A couple of friends of mine are still there and playing and doing a good job. I'm going with Cam Brate for NFL MVP, tight end for the Bucs this year. Clear-cut MVP candidate, I'm sure. And let's hope that the Broncos and the Bucs can square off in Arizona.
So that would be the last dance of Tom Brady, or we have to expect another?
That I don't know, Tom. If I did, I'd probably still be in Tampa. But it seems to me that you can't ever he's not going away. He's too good. Why would he go away? It sounds like he's got about 25 million reasons to stick around, if you know what I'm saying, like,
yeah.
And if he's going to keep playing at a high level, I mean, I don't know why he'd ever leave, unless he just gets tired of it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He's obviously the best to ever play.
Andrew, thank you very much.
I'm on an interview.
10 seconds.
Okay, all right.
Andrew, thank you very much for being here, and we can talk in the future if you want. This is your house, and we see you the next Sunday.
No, the other one.
The other one in Reus.
We track you down and say hi, and I'm looking forward to meet you guys in person.
Okay.
And good luck for this Sunday, if I'm not, and in Wroclaw.
No, we're going to Hamburg.
No, Hamburg.
Yeah.
Okay, so the schedule is wrong. See, the Hamburg.
I hope we're playing Hamburg. That's what we're getting ready for. So we'll see. If they drop us in Poland, that's fine. Put the ball down. We'll be ready to play. Okay. We don't care.
That's the attitude. Yeah. So thank you very much, and
thank you very much.
So glad to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be on. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
All right. See ya.